Social media, including YouTube, is taking over our lives in many ways. And some people wonder about the effects that it's having on children. So should there be an age limit on social media? We're going to talk about that today. So this is another question that a subscriber put forth to us about social media. And should there be an age limit on when kids have access to social media? So think about that. And again, we want to look at, what is the premise or the reason behind everything that we do, because everything we do for a reason. What would be the reason then of prohibiting kids to access social media until they reach a certain age? Well, the idea behind that, I'm sure, would be a good intent. It would be to protect kids. One of the things that we know is that social media can be very addictive, and in fact as addictive as heroin with the chemicals that it releases in our brain. And so what are we doing to our children when they learn that by, getting likes on social media, or that helps them feel better about themselves, or if there is something that they don't feel like they want to do, so they're bored or whatever, and they turn to social media just for entertainment, and they end up spending, their time in front or of a screen, and they spend most of their time and downtime, doing that. Is that productive? Is that helpful to them? Well, probably not. But is it also a good idea for other people to decide what you should and shouldn't do with your time? Do you want other people controlling you, or do you want to control yourself? And so we kind of get into this place of anytime we think that there's a problem, that the solution to the problem is that we create a law that tells people what they can and can't do, instead of allowing people or teaching people to think for themselves. Now, here's the thing about individuals and people is that all of us are different. And so what may be harmful to one person may not be harmful to another person. True? And we all develop at different times and at different stages. So it could be that, let's say we arbitrarily decided that, kids under the age of 12, couldn't have access to social media. Well, not all kids, once they reach the age of 12, have the same level of maturity. So there may be some kids that really don't have the level of maturity until they reach the age of 16. But there may be somebody else that had that level of maturity at age 10. So we have to look at, what's the intent behind the behavior? What is it that we're really trying to accomplish? And so probably better than creating a law about at what age kids can have access to social media, what we ought to do is do a better job of educating people about the benefits and the negative consequences of social media. Now that's a real challenge, but that's where the solution lies. So oftentimes we think that by creating a law, it's a lot easier because we just say this is what you're supposed to do, or this is what you can do or can't do, and everybody's going to follow it. The truth is, we know that that doesn't happen, that not everybody follows all of the laws. So even if we created a law, there's going to be some parents that are going to allow their kids to access social media before whatever the age of the law that was established. So that's not going to solve the problem anyway. But changing people's beliefs or educating people so that they understand the risks involved, that's more of a challenge. But maybe that's where we ought to be spending our time as a society. That's what this YouTube channel is all about. It's about educating and giving people information to help them begin to think about things differently, to understand that there are laws, natural laws that govern the world in which we live, and we're free to follow those laws or to not follow them, but there are consequences for both of those things. So when we follow them, there are positive consequences. When we don't follow them, there are negative consequences, which allows us to learn from the choices that we've made. So if I'm a parent and I have a young child, I want to look at, why am I allowing my child to access social media? So what is the intent behind that? Is it because I'm too lazy as a parent to spend time with my child, so it's much easier to just give them my cell phone and let them play around with it so that I can do whatever it is that I want to do? If that's the case, then I would ask myself, I'd back up even further and I'd say, why was it that I wanted to be a parent? Why was it that I wanted to have kids? Was it because I thought that that was going to make me happy? False belief, right? Or is it because I wanted to have children that I could spend time with, that I could give to, that I could serve, that I could teach? Because through doing that, I'm going to feel good about my life and what I've contributed to this planet in which we all live. That could be one reason that I allow my child to get on social media. Another is because, I've never really thought about it and I don't know how it's affected me in my own life, so I don't think that there's going to be any negative effect on my child. There could be any number of reasons for which we want to allow our children to access social media. Maybe it's just because they want to and we don't want them to be mad at us, so I'm afraid of saying no and setting a boundary with my child because I don't want to make them angry. And so I'm going to give in to them and give them what they want. But what's important is that you and every one of us turn our brains on and we begin to think about what we're doing and why we are doing it. So what's the intent? What's the reason behind it? If there is a self-interest reason for my child to access social media, then they ought to be able to access it. But if I don't know why I'm doing it, and I'm kind of brain off, I'm on autopilot, I'm doing it because everybody else is doing it, I'm doing it because it's legal, there's no law that says that I can't do it, well, that's the time again that we need to begin to become more aware and to think about what we're doing and why we're doing it. So should there be a law, an age limit of when children can access social media? I don't think so, but I think that we need to become more aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it and use the brains that we've been given to make self-interest choices. And if we do that, we're going to have better outcomes in our own life and in the outcomes of our communities, our families, and the society in which we live. Thanks for watching. If you have topics or ideas or things that you would like addressed or discussed on this channel, put those in the comments below. If you want to know more about who we are or what we're doing, visit our website at principlebasedliving.com. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on LinkedIn, make sure and follow me here.